Namaste, yogis. Welcome to your practice. This is Steven from Yoga Works. Today, we're going to do a mood balancing flow. To me, yoga is a really good practice to create a bit more balance in how you feel. If you feel all over the place and you're a little bit nervous or tense, then it tends to bring me down a little bit to calm the nervous system. And if you're feeling a little bit lethargic and low on energy, it tends to pep you up a little bit. So today we'll explore that a bit more detail, and I want to give you a bit more sort of background on the Indian philosophy that underlies a lot of parts of this yoga practice. Now, in Ayurveda, or the ancient Indian wellness techniques, they speak about three qualities that we all possess in different levels and mixtures. We all have them all the time, but at times one of them or some of them are a bit more prominent than at other times. And the first one is called Tamas, which is lethargy, heaviness. Think like an animal, like a snail or a sloth or something, where there's not much energy and you're feeling sort of heavy and slow. The yogis would say it's relaxed, but it's too relaxed. You're not going to achieve a lot with that quality being dominant in your life. Then the second quality is rajas. Rajas is the chili pepper, the coffee that peps you up, the the moving forward, the challenging, the always on kind of mentality. It is very, very active, but maybe a little bit too much, which causes you to burn out if you keep up that kind of pace. So a lot of us, including myself, have been working at Rajasic terms for many periods of our lives. And we could probably all use a little bit of balance where we learn how to switch off or step down from that always on doing more kind of mentality, and we create a bit more balance. And then the third one is the balance between the two. It's relaxed but active at the same time, which is called Sattva, which is a nice balanced, equal state. We never stay in any of these states. There's always a mix, and we move between them at different times of the day or different phases of our life. Now, today, what I would like to do with you is to explore a first version of the pose, which is a bit too relaxed, a bit too slow, a bit too lax, you could say, and a second version, which is a bit too strenuous. We're going to push a little bit hard, and then the third one, which is like just right in the middle. So I'd like to invite you to find those qualities, explore them, experience them. Maybe one feels very familiar and the other ones don't, and see if we can find the middle ground. So we'll start with a bit of breath work. So just sit comfortably, close your eyes. And at first, just let the breath be as it is. And there's a good chance that it's a little bit shallow, a little bit limited, a bit stuck maybe in the higher parts of the chest or the front of the body. That's quite common, that it doesn't go into the back rib cage or down into the diaphragm and the belly. So just observe, this is your breath before we've done any work. You could call this the tamas. We haven't really paid attention, and often the breath is it's a bit limited. We might not exhale all the way. We don't inhale very deep either. And then for the second quality, the rajas, let's do a stronger ujjayi. So you're closing the back of the throat to create a bit of a constriction there, and then do a strong inhale, ujjayi breath with the constriction. Keep the constriction slow, exhale like a sigh on the inside. You keep going, it's a bit hard to talk and do the ujjayi at the same time. It's actually impossible. So if I say something, I won't be doing the ujjayi breath. Do a few more rounds. Exaggerate a bit so you get a good sound and a good constriction in the back of the throat. Let's do one more. Now notice if we did for longer, we might be over breathing. You get a bit lightheaded and the back of the throat feels a little bit too constricted. So now find the middle ground, a slight constriction in the back of the throat, but only you can hear the breath. If there was somebody next to you, they can barely hear anything. So very gentle Ujjayi breath, just for you. Take a slow, gentle breath in, a slow, gentle breath out, keeping that internal sighing sound. One more round. You could also call this the Goldilocks practice. Not too hot, not too cold, just right in the middle for the baby bear. And then complete the exhale you're on. Now swing the legs out in front of you. And then for this first one, let the feet flop out a bit, let your legs just go, and then just ever so slightly walk the hands forward without doing any effort. You're just sort of hanging out. A bit of a lazy forward fold. You're just sort of sagging down. Nothing is really active. Your legs are just flopping down on the ground. Your arms, your shoulders are soft. You just feel this quality here. If you do this pose every day, would you advance? Would you learn a lot? Probably not. So that's the tamas. You're there, but kind of only half-hearted, you could say. And then let's do rajas, straighten the legs, bring the feet all the way together, or at least the balls of the feet. Pull the toes up, glue the backs of your legs down, the backs of the knees down. Plug the sit bones down, lengthen the spine, and then walk the hands forward as far as they go. Maybe hold the feet, or if you need a belt to reach the feet, try pull on something. Even if it's your calves or your ankles, that's fine. And then lengthen the chest forward. Pull the forehead down. Usually we don't push so much in this forward fold. I never instructed this way. But once in a while, it's nice to just introduce a bit of a challenge, a bit of heat. And just bear in mind, we're just starting our practice, so don't overdo anything. Nice. And then come out. That was the rajas where you push hard, And now we'll do the tamas, which is just right in between. I like to separate the legs a bit. It just gives a bit more space for the hips, for the legs, and then lengthen the spine. Keep a bit of space in the back, yes, because of the stretch, but also in the front body. So we're not collapsing all the way down. We're not trying to get our forehead all the way down. To get some good length in the front and the back of the spine, especially in the back because of the nature of the pose. And then you just feel your legs are strong, they're grounded, but they're not straining. There's no overactivity. You're doing just right. You're in there. You're engaging the muscles. Your quads are on. Your abdominals are on. The hip flexors are on. But if you had to stay here for a longer period, let's say 5 minutes, you'd be able to. You would find the continuity, the breath, the focus, the balance. With the rajas, if you do extreme pulling and pushing, then you wouldn't be able to hold it for that long. And you're probably on your way to injury, isn't it? If you always go at your maximum in every single pose. Good. Slowly come back up. Let's go cat and cow. Do a few rounds where you're not really in there. You're just sort of giving the teacher the impression you're moving a bit, but you know you've got way more movement potential. Your breath let it be a bit too soft, a bit too much in the background. Yes. Just do the minimum. Okay, and now let's do maximum cat and cow. Inhale, drop the chest, lift the tailbone, lift the gaze, stretch your throat. Exhale all the breath out. You can still do that strong ujjayi if you prefer. Round your back, tuck the tailbone under chin to chest. Stretch your back. Inhale, arch your back. Drop the belly, drop the heart. Look up. Exhale, drop the chin down. Look back towards your belly. Tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, go for it. Maximum range of movement. Exhale, push the hands down and press the mat away. Nice. And now let's try to stay in the middle. You're doing a good stretch, but you're not putting everything into the maximum range of motion. That's often actually a standard mode with a lot of yogis I see. I see a bit of both. Some people that clearly work a little bit harder, they tend to choose the easier option. And then a lot of other ones who always on the maximum option, the most advanced pose that's possible, straining the breath, straining the muscles, holding tension. So we want to be somewhere in the middle. You can feel your breath, you can clear your mind, and everything just works together quite harmoniously. Last round here. Complete with the exhale. And then let's go downward facing dog. So walk your hands a little bit forward, spread your hands wide, your fingers wide, tuck the toes. For this first one, just bend the knees and let everything sort of hang out a bit. You just on your hands, your feet, but it's hardly an amazing down dog. You're hanging in your shoulders a bit. Your hands are not grounding down as well as they could. You're not really stretching the backs of the legs. The spine is just sort of hanging out in the middle. This is the Tamas. Just feel that for a moment. The lethargic quality. Nice. Now push your hands down into the mat. Straighten your arms all the way. Lengthen the hips up and back. And then stretch the heels down as far as they'll go. Even try to lift the toes. Lift the kneecaps. Use your quads to lift the knees, to straighten the legs all the way. Lift the sit bones. Stretch the back of the legs. Push your chest down towards the mat. Maximum amount of strain in the pose. And then probably you feel there's all kinds of tension, your shoulders, your forehead, your breath, your center. Good. And then find the middle ground just right. So you're strong in the hands, strong in the feet. You can still do a little bend in the knees if that feels more positive. But there's a good stretch in the backs of the legs. And most of all, you're lengthening the spine and your breath. You can move with ease. 2 more breaths here. Inhale all the way up to your tailbone. Exhale 1. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale 2. Trying to find the Sattva, the balancing energies in our body. Good. Let's slowly walk to the front. Hang down in a forward fold. Let's do ragdoll to start with. Bend the knees. Round your back. Let the head hang. Let the shoulders hang. You can hold opposite elbows if you want. Barely any stretch at all. So I'm not saying these poses are bad where you hang out and you rest. Like a restorative practice. And it's also not bad to push really hard, but ideally would have a nice marriage, a nice in-between point of those 2 qualities. Nice. Now for the rajas, let's slide the hands under the feet. Completely the whole hand under the feet. So your toes are pressing into the hip crease. Not hip crease. That would be quite weird. Your toes press down into the wrist crease. And then straighten the legs as much as you can. Tip the pelvis forward. And then lengthen down with the crown of the head. You can even bend the elbows out to the sides if you got more space. Maximum stretch. Pull the belly up. Reach down with the head. Pull with the hands at the bottom of the feet. Good. And then release that. Nice wrist stretch, by the way. Nice. And now we'll do an in-between option. So you can start with bent knees. I quite like to hold the backs of the heels. Not to pull really hard, but just to have a bit of push between the calves there. And then I like to push back with the calves into the forearms. Lift the sit bones up. It's okay if the knees are still a bit bent. You're trying to get a good forward fold where the pelvis tips forward, the spine lengthens down, gets a bit of rounding, that's fine. And then lift the shoulders a bit down the back, so up towards your hips in this case. Your neck has more space. Good. And then plant the hands, step back, lower onto your belly. Nice. Now we'll do a baby cobra, just barely lift anything. You just lift your head off the mat. Just feel there's not much going on. Your arms are soft. Your back muscles are barely engaged. Kind of pretending you're in the yoga pose almost. Good. And then slide your hands a little bit further back. Push your hands down and roll the shoulders back. Let's go to your maximum pose. Just be a bit careful. We haven't done a lot of back bends today. We haven't done any actually. So don't overdo it, but just feel that the rajas where you're pushing and you're trying to go further and you're straining. You might even be holding your breath if you don't watch out. And then lower back down. Number 3, try to find the middle point. Quite relaxed and quite active. As yogis, we want everything. We don't want just one thing. We want everything. So lightly push your hands down into the mat. Let your back muscles work. Roll the shoulders back and down. Free your neck. Give a little push with the hands, but you don't need to go to your maximum. Just imagine you're here for a while. How can you make this pose sustainable? Or imagine you're going to do this pose for the next 30 years of your life. Good. Slowly lower down. Push back to downward facing dog. Slowly walk the feet forward to the front of the mat. Nice. Roll up slowly to standing. It's going to open the door a bit. It's getting quite warm in here. All right. Hands to the heart. Eyes on the horizon. We'll do one round. Tamasic, which is the lethargic, the floppy kind of pose. So just don't focus too hard. Just lift your arms. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Right foot back, right knee down. Nice. Just stay here for a breath. Exhale to down dog. Nice. Inhale to plank pose. And then just flop down onto your belly. Inhale, a little baby cobra pose. You're not trying to go very high. And then you can move to child's pose to go back to down dog. You know, on some days, this might be the exact quality that you need. If you've been working really hard and you're barely keeping it together, you need a nice soft practice. I would recommend to move a little bit like this. So just move even though you feel you have no energy at all. That's still really beneficial. Now, step right foot forward. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Step left foot forward, fold. It's a roll up slow. Lift your arms. Let's do the other side. Exhale, flop down. Inhale, off lift. Left foot back, left knee down. We're just staying here for a breath. Actually, if you've been doing yoga for a long time, it might be hard to not do the breath well or not link it to the movement. Just see how that goes for you. Step back to down dog. Inhale, plank. Lower the knees, flop down. You could even do that caterpillar thing. And then lift a little bit. Tiny, tiny cobra. And then through the child's pose to down dog. Take a breath. Exhale, left foot forward. Low lunge, knee down. And a step to the front. Forward fold. Let's roll up slow. Lift the arms. Hands to the heart. Good. Let's do rajas, where we are pushing a little bit harder. Nice. We're going to do 2 Surya A's where we jump back straight into Chaturanga. If that's not your vibe, step back, lower from plank. Do the best you can. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back, heart goes forward. Exhale, Chaturanga, hop lightly. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale in down dog. Exhale, bend your knees, step or hop forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise, reach through the arms. Straight down for the round 2, forward fold, Uttanasana, intense stretch. Inhale, flat back, reach. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look to the front. Exhale, hop and land. Inhale, flat back. Usually the rajasic people like to keep the fingertips down. They refuse to have hands on chins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a breath. Let the excess energy, the tension dissipate, but keep the energy high in your body. Nice. So stay relaxed. while being very active. This is hard. Inhale to find that balance. Exhale, forward fold, nice and active, but don't strain. Inhale, lengthen the heart forward. Maybe hands to shins. Exhale, right foot back. Let's keep the right knee up for high lunge. Lift the arms. Your legs are steady. Your arms are reaching. Your breath is smooth. Downward facing dog. Inhale into plank. Exhale, you can pass through chaturanga. Let's go all the way down. Now let's stick with the cobras. Roll the shoulders back, heart forward. Exhale, down dog. Inhale here. Exhale the right foot forward for crescent. Lift your arms. Take a breath. Inhale. Exhale, step forward, forward fold. Let's rise it all the way up. Going straight back down. Exhale. Relax the head at the bottom, but stretch the backs of the legs. Inhale, flat back. Heart goes forward. Left foot back for high lunge. When you're ready, lift the arms. Exhale, down dog. Inhale takes you to plank. Exhale through chaturanga to the floor. A nice cobra where you open the front body. Doesn't matter how high you go, just make it active, but also steady and relaxed. Good. Downward facing dog. Step back. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward, high lunge, lift the arms. Step to the front, forward fold, release. All the way up, inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. Take a breath. Just feel the energy you've built up in the body, but it shouldn't feel like, oh my God, what just happened? Like you just came off a roller coaster. It should feel like, wow, this is amazing. I'm topping myself up and I'm recharging through my practice. Nice. Nice. Chair pose. Place the feet hip distance. Bend your knees a little bit. And then for the first, we're just kind of going to pretend we're doing chair. Sit down a little bit with the hips, but without causing any strain in the legs. You're kind of pretending for the teacher. Imagine you're in a group class, pretending you're doing chair. Nice. And then release. Whew. Here we go. Now we're going to do the Rajasic one. Bend your knees a lot, as much as you can, and then lift your arms, lean the thumbs back, sit a little bit lower, and breathe. 3, 2, sit a little bit lower, 1, and then stand up. All right, that was the Rajas. Really good to work in that way sometimes, as long as you balance it off with other things. You could relax your face, you could relax the breath, you could do a restorative pose after, or at the end of the practice. That's good. And now let's try and marry the two principles. Sattva, good bend in the knees, hips are sitting back, the front of the ribs is not flaring out, arms are lifting. If it's too much to lift the arms, then you know what to do. Don't lift the arms. Good. But then just try to put some vuma into the pose without depleting yourself, without stopping the breath, without wishing you were somewhere else. Good. And then just come out. This is a no drama chair pose, you could say. Good. We've done the ragdoll. Let's do a standing balance. So first, I'd like to do variations of tree pose. The Tamasic one, we're just going to hold the knee up with our hands. So lift the right knee to your chest, stand up tall, and just relax. Nice. Release the right knee, lift the left knee. If you fall out, so be it. No problem. This might be a great option, for some people. This might be really challenging. I'm also falling out here. So if this is your first yoga class, this might be the Rajasic option. So just be careful. We can't always compare. What's difficult for one person might be quite easy for another person, and vice versa. Good. Rajas is in the house. Bend that right knee, hold the big toe. Uh-oh, you know where we're going. Left hand to left hip. Let's start to kick this foot into the hand and then open it to the side. Maybe left hand to the left. Stand up tall, push your foot into the hand and hold. Full stretch in all directions. Good. Slowly release. Shake the legs. Left big toe. First two fingers of the left hand. Hold. Lift the heart. Kick your foot into the hand. Open to the side. Maybe right hand to the opposite side. A moment here. Try straighten both legs. 3, 2, 1. And let it go. Shake the legs out. Now the pose in the middle is, I've chosen tree pose. I'm not saying this is how it has to be, but tree is like a nice little in between those two for me. Place your right foot inside the left inner thigh. Start with hands to heart. And once you feel you're nice and steady, lift the arms. So root everything down into the ground. And then from the hips up, lift everything up into the sky. So you feel the tamas, the rooting, the heaviness, and you feel the rajas, the engaging, the lifting, the reaching, both at the same time. And in the middle, is there a sense of balance, sattva. Good. Release that, come down. You could shake the legs in between. Left foot inside the right thigh. Nice. Press the foot into the inner thigh. Maybe start hands to heart if you like. And then if you got your balance, you got your drishti, your focus point for the eyes, you can reach your arms up. Root down, feel the heaviness, the grounding of your lower body. And then feel the activity, the effort, the upper body rising up, squeezing into the midline. And then feel that balance, so the marriage of different opposites, or at first sight they seem opposites. But as a yogi, we want to explore all of it. Nice. Slowly come down. Shake it out if you want. And then we'll end with the pigeon pose. Let's go right foot forward, right knee forward, left foot back. The first one, just do the floppy lying down on. Oh, I love this one. This is amazing. The sleeping pigeon. You can modify as always. You can bring that foot further forward, but for now, keep it in the mildest option for you. Just, you're doing it, but there's not much going on. Good. And then the Tamas, or the Rajasic version, try slide that right shin a little further forward so it's almost parallel to the front edge of the mat. Maybe it is parallel. And then come up onto your fingertips, lift the heart, stretch that back leg back and push everything into the floor. 3, 2, 1, and release. Now I'm going to reduce that angle again. It just feels a bit nicer on that knee and on that right hip. And then I quite like this version where you walk the hands a little bit out to the side with the fingers out. You go about 45 degrees. And then with the hands you push back so that right hip is pressed back towards the end of the mat. At the same time, I'm pressing the right shin down a bit. I'm lengthening the spine. And in this way, the breath can move. My legs are quite active. And my upper body is quite spacious and relaxed. It's a nice middle ground for me. If what I'm saying is not the middle ground for you, you might have to choose different options, of course. You can add a harder option. You can add an easier option. You can back off a bit. Good. Let's swap sides. Left knee forward. Right leg back. bit of a floppy first one. Rest down, heavy and inactive. That's Tamas. There's a lot of food that corresponds to this state. Anything fried, heavy. Alcohol can make you quite lethargic as well. There's a whole science behind how you should eat, how you should breathe, how you should sleep, how you should move. And it's just good to know that the yoga, it's not the same as Ayurveda, but it originates from the same time and area. And it's nice to learn some of these frameworks just to see if the thinking fits, if it's useful to you. Now lift the left shin a little bit higher. Don't overdo this, but if you have quite flexible hips, which I don't actually, but then you can just lift that foot quite high. Then push up onto fingertips, lift the heart, ground the legs down, and push a little bit harder. You're pressing your legs into the floor, you're lifting the heart. This is the Rajasic version. You could also hold the back leg actually if you want. And then let's reduce that angle a bit again to make it more doable. Reach the hands forward. Now we're going 45 degrees in the upper body. Lengthen that left hip back. Lightly pull the right hip forward. Be nice and strong, grounded in the lower body. And quite open, relaxed in the upper body. See if you can find that middle point where the pose is just right. Everything comes together. The pose is like an antenna to receive. If it's too weak, you won't receive anything. If it's too active, it's full of tension. Also, you're not going to get a clear signal. Good. Slowly release. Let's come into a comfortable seat. Just sit cross-legged or anyhow you want, really. Rest your hands, close your eyes, and take a moment of stillness at the end of your practice. Remember how you were feeling at the beginning of the practice. Maybe you're feeling quite down, quite low in energy, or a little bit agitated and tense. Wherever you were in that spectrum, just see if you arrived a bit more in the center. There's a bit more balance. Maybe you're feeling some strong emotions. Something made you angry. Something made you sad or depleted. And your practice can help to get a bit of a perspective, get a bit more clarity. Let's place the hands together at the heart. Touch your hands to your forehead, to the heart center, and fold, bow to yourself on the mat. Thank you so much for practicing, yogis. Namaste, everyone. I hope to help to balance the mood and your general system. And thanks a lot for practicing. It means a lot. See you next time.